Hello and a very warm welcome to this edition of Public Forum. I'm Shalini Verma. At a time when a huge controversy is going on over alleged Ishrat Jahan fake encounter case, Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde recently said that he doesn't know if the 19-year-old killed in 2004 was a terrorist. A CBI charge sheet submitted recently concluded that Ishrat Jahan had no terrorist links and was killed in a staged shootout. It also named 6 policemen as accused. The Ishrat Jahan case shows up the state's dark underbelly, from Uttar Pradesh and Chhattisgarh to West Bengal and Manipur. States ruled by different protagonists at different times have witnessed unlawful killings with impunity. Have fake encounters become an accepted part of state practice for dealing with those who are perceived as insurrectionists and branded as terrorists? Isn't it time to fix accountability of such unlawful killings in India? In this edition of Public Forum, we'll try to find answers to these questions. And to discuss more on this, I'm joined by Major General Afsar Karim. He's a security analyst. Ms. Devyani Srivastav, she's Program Officer with Police Reforms in Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative. And the CBI's charge sheet filed in this particular case, which names 6 policemen as accused.
See, I'm not going into the details of this Gujarat case because facts are not very clear. Some selective leaks are there. We have to find out what exactly are the charges against the 6 police officers by the CBI for counter-violence in Indian Penal Code.
But Major General Karim, is it just restricted to the police, sir? Or can we really see, because we have seen such incidents happening not just in,
or even the kind of security idea that is emerging with complete disregard to fundamental rights. And let's not forget that in India's context, the law of the land is very clear that the right to life, in a sense, is not kind of value that is given to it when officers are promoted, where honest officers are not encouraged, in fact not given the right kind of in Gujarat's case. And of course it's not just limited to Gujarat, but this is just an example. I mean, these are just telling us of where policing itself is going, and that is the main worry at this point of tells us.
But let's go and let's follow the NHRC report on fake encounters, which basically focuses on 555 cases of fake encounters from 2009 and 10 to 2012 and 13. And interesting is, Mrs. Sen here, Uttar Pradesh tops the list with 138 fake encounters, Manipur second with 62 cases, Assam with 52 cases, 35 cases in West Bengal and 30 in Jharkhand, and 8 cases of fake encounters in Gujarat. It was the 17th on the list. Mr. Sen, it says a lot about maybe the governance, it says a lot about the political parties who would be there, the kind of the police management that is being done, because police and public order, again, is a state subject. What would you like to say about this, sir?
See, first you have to keep in mind, number one, is that encounter itself per se is not an offense, in a sense that there can be legitimate encounters. You are attacked by the terror.
We'll take a very short break in Public Forum. Please stay tuned for more on the other side. Welcome back to Public Forum. In Public Forum today, we are talking about fake encounters. Well, the Supreme Court recently also established a committee to probe the extrajudicial killings of 1,528 people in Manipur. These people have been killed since 1979. And this was done in January this year. On April 4th, in fact, the committee identified 6 fake encounters, 7 whom this committee was really looking into. And there were certain other things also which came into the limelight. Now here, Major General Karim, this is something which we have seen in Manipur at least. When the Supreme Court committee itself says
the attitude of the army and behavior in Manipur, I'm talking about, not elsewhere,
yes,
has been not very clean. What is the reason, I do not know. But according to me, there's some mistaken notion, which from the top to bottom, and including the political this thing. Otherwise, the army couldn't have done it. A soldier in no way interested in going and killing people because he doesn't gain anything out of it.
Welcome back to Public Forum. In Public Forum today, we are talking about fake encounter killings. before going into the break, we were talking about the situation in Manipur. Before we take up the Manipur issue again, I would like to come to you, Major General Karim. The situation in Jammu and Kashmir could be read a little differently from what we see in Manipur, but more or less, as the general reporting goes, we always see that AFSPA is being blamed for the army's attitude, and more or less, even if there are clashes happening or whatever sort of deaths happen, they are generally seen as extrajudicial killings.
If it is possible, but the best would be if situations improve to remove the army.
Right.
And there is no need for them to operate anyway in those areas.
So why do you think, sir, that these governments are still continuing with the act? There are different stands that we have. I mean, the army has a different stand. There have been mass protests in these areas for calling off the AFSPA. Why do you think is the government still retaining it?
You see, the army's thing is quite clear. It's not really against it, but it is a procedure. If the AFSPA goes, then they get involved. The whole battalion will get involved, sitting in front of a court for years and years. There will be no functioning. And the soldiers will get involved in totally something else. That's one of the major reasons. Second thing is that if there's no safeguard, the same people are going to get the army almost in
Manipur. Of course, we have known mass protests done in Manipur. Nobody can forget the kind of sacrifice that Irom Sharmila has made, and of course she's still on that.
Grievances and do the necessary procedure. What happens to the fundamental rights of a citizen in these areas?
Right.
And one is not talking about weeks or months or years. It's decades now. It's already 55 years. If army has to be used for a specific surgical operation here, claim to be democracy if such kind of practices continues in certain parts of their country. And I think the people's anger and sentiments are quite clear on this. Unfortunately, even though there are people in the government, including the Prime Minister, I believe, on this, he have not been able to keep his promise that he gave to the people of Manipur in 2004. Saying that this act needs to be replaced by a more humane act. And the same continues with Chidambaram, when he was a home minister, he said he have proposed certain amendments, but the army is against it. I mean, who runs this country is the basic fundamental question. If people are denied their fundamental rights for decades together, who will take responsibility for this? The strength of the country will come when people can feel.
And he was online, he was on the phone with us from Manipur. We'll take a very short break in Public Forum, but after the break in the last segment, we are certainly going to talk about what really needs to be done here and how the accountability should be fixed for such unlawful killings in India. Welcome back to Public Forum. In this edition, we are talking about fake encounter killings. Before going into the break, we heard the situation and how a Manipuri really responds to the cases, the encounters or any such sort of unlawful activity really happening in that part of the country. I would like to have your response to this, Major General Karim.
Firstly, I feel that in a place like Manipur, the armed forces have no place on a permanent basis. They can be called in for a short period and sent out. As long if you keep involved on top, the government and the army, everybody has to come in. Unfortunately, and other people are responsible and they understand that
things which Bablu really talked about, whether it's to do with how the judiciary should be functioning or how the state administration must be functioning, and of course things are really not on the track when it comes to the state of Manipur. But let's talk about the whole country. How do you look at things to now, maybe improve? Is there any sign of improvement that you can see, or is there any lesson that we have really learned? This debate has been going on for a very, very long time. What would you
I think there are definitely signs of improvement. The very fact that the Supreme Court has taken note of so many of these cases and come out with very good judgments is a very, very good sign. But when we talk about improvement, accountability, there are two things to